Please note disclaimers at end of show.
Welcome to Creating Wealth with Jason Hartman. During this program, Jason is going to tell you some really exciting things that you probably haven't thought of before and a new slant on investing. Fresh new approaches to America's best investment that will enable you to create more wealth and happiness than you ever thought possible. Jason is a genuine, self-made multimillionaire who not only talks the talk, but walks the walk. He's been a successful investor for 20 years and currently owns properties in 11 states and 17 cities. This program will help you follow in Jason's footsteps on the road to financial freedom. You really can do it. And now, here's your host, Jason Hartman, with the complete solution for real estate investors.
Welcome to Creating Wealth Show number 123. This is Jason Hartman, and I'm glad you've joined us here today. Before we get into the show today with a very special guest, Dan Sullivan, who heads up a company called The Strategic Coach. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and I'm sure you'll get some very valuable information from him. He's going to talk a little bit about general life and business. And by the way, I have to announce a slightly new focus of the show that we will be hearing from time to time. We'll have some guests on this topic. We want to talk a little bit about creating wealth in some other ways. You clients have expressed, or I should say listeners and clients, have expressed some interest that I am listening to and wanting to cater to on home-based business, on entrepreneurship, and on internet marketing, social media marketing, and other ways that you can earn money, more of an income-based approach rather than a creating wealth approach for investments. And there we, of course, focus on real estate, which is, without a doubt, the most historically proven asset class in the history of America, if not the entire history of the world. But before we get into our interview with Dan Sullivan today, which I think you'll really enjoy, I have, for the first time ever, our editor in the office here with me, and that is Ari, and he is an investment counselor here. And on the side, because his prior life, he was a sound engineer and has a background in editing of audio and production of audio. Does a great job at that. So say hello, Ari. This is your first time on the show?
Yep. Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me on today. I'm so used to actually editing the show, but today I'm actually going to be on the show.
I know, and I've asked you to be on before, and you never seem to want to very much, but I'm glad you're here today. And also, you've heard from her before, but our investment counselor and also rental coordinator, Sarah, is here with us. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
So before we get into the show today, we want to talk a little bit about the Masters weekend. It's now Wednesday, and we just ended the Masters weekend on Sunday evening. And I tell you, it was a great weekend. I really enjoyed it. What did you guys think?
I agree. It was a great weekend. We had a lot of new clients come in and a lot of past clients come in. The room was packed, and we had a lot of great speakers, a lot of great information. This is my second Masters weekend I've attended. And I have to say, even though we had a few speakers that were there last time, they always speak about something different, and I always take away something really great from every time that they've presented. So I liked it.
And we had some great news speakers, too. We had our newsletter editor who flew down from Portland, and he gave a speech and talked about packaged commodities and buying below construction cost and comparing the stock market to real estate and just all kinds of great things there. Sarah, what do you want to say? You look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I have to say Doug's presentation was one of my favorites. I thought he did a great job being one of my clients in the past and actually having invested with us. But he really drove home the inflation topic. And, I was able to take it back. I had a long discussion with my grandmother this morning about inflation. And so I had to give a shout out to my grandmother because she's a podcast listener too.
Well, that's great. Hi, Granny. How you doing?
Well, one thing I want to say, Jason, is that I think the best part of all the Masters weekends are the testimonials from clients that get up there and speak about their experiences with platinum properties. And I have to say, Richard from England, that was an amazing testimonial because not only is he investing out of his backyard, but he's investing out of the country.
Well, and not just that, he flew out here for the Masters weekend. So Richard, again, we appreciate you coming. Yep. You are so far the furthest away guest we've had. And we had guests also from all over the country. We had area experts, our local market specialists from some different areas and other speakers. And when you say the panel and that, I really want to not say that's That's not testimonials. And the reason I say that is because that panel is really kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, tales from the edge, the real story about investments. And it's not all good. There are a few bumps in the road, but we'll help you get over them. This is not a perfect thing in terms of income property investing, but it is the best thing. It may not be perfect. It's just better than everything else.
Well, we have to be sure to thank Joan for her brutal honesty. She's had a little bit of a, story and a journey with her real estate investing. But at the end of the day, she's been able to get most of it resolved and, move forward and do well with her investments. So.
Yeah, no, it's really great. Well, I want to go over just kind of how the weekend progressed. And first, I gave the opening speech, which I usually do, and I talked about financial self-defense. And then we had our first local market specialist who flew out from Atlanta, Georgia, and that was Reed. And Reed talked about the properties we have in Atlanta that you can purchase with as little as $5,000 down. Return on investment's fantastic on those. And then we had Peter, who's been on the show before, talk about tax secrets of wealthy investors and talk a little bit about the Go Zone, which is kind of coming to a conclusion here, but we still have investors that are interested in Go Zone investing. If you are, go to jasonhartman.com and contact us that way. And then we had Danny, and he was a first-time speaker who talked about the secrets of credit restoration and credit enhancement. We had him on the show before, but this is the first time we had him speaking at a Masters weekend, and we got really good reviews on Danny's talk. Your credit is an asset, and you want to use that credit as much as possible. If you don't use it, the asset isn't worth anything. So you want to use it, you want to protect it, you want to enhance it. And in some cases, and we're seeing this more and more nowadays, people are actually being told that if they want to get a loan modification, they have to let their payments fall behind. That's a risky deal, folks. But I will tell you, lenders are telling people to do that out there, and we're seeing people do it more and more. But it is risky, and you want to make sure you have a consultation with a credit enhancement and restoration expert if you're going to pursue that route. We had my friend Corey come and talk about mobile home parks and self-storage investing. That was a real highlight. He's got, between all his mobile home park pads and all his self-storage units, he's got 2,700 units. He is a multi-millionaire and has really done some great things in the mobile home park and self-storage world. If you're interested in finding mobile home parks or finding self-storage facilities, contact an investment counselor here at Platinum Properties Investor Network at jasonhartman.com, and we'll be glad to help you do that. Of course, we've had breaks and lunches in between here that were really fun. And then we had our Indianapolis presentation. And of course, Angela and Joe came out as they always do. And we showed some pretty funny home videos there that I made when I was in Indianapolis before, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, and it was really great to have David kind of come out and tell his experience. He's purchased several properties.
Yeah, David, I'm sure you're listening. You've been on the show before. I had you on several shows ago. But you got to diversify. You're done with Indianapolis, okay? You've got enough properties there. You're going to own the whole town soon.
He found out later that this was actually an intervention.
Yeah. Some people do become a little addicted to this, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But, he's looking at some other markets now, and he's traveling around. So we're just glad that he made it out and, told us great stories.
Yeah, that was a great story. And by my home videos, I mean, when I was in Indianapolis and some of these markets, I'm taking little videos on the iPhone and, they come out pretty good, but one of them was kind of funny. We'll probably get that out to you soon here and you'll see it and you'll get to laugh. By the way, I want to mention, listeners, we have a video podcast. Make sure you are subscribing to our video podcast. If you're using iTunes, just type in Jason Hartman in the search bar. You'll get the Holistic Survival podcast, the Speed of Money podcast, of course, the Creating Wealth podcast you're listening to now, but also the Creating Wealth video podcast. And there's some good stuff on all of those. So make sure you subscribe to all of them. They're free. So why not? Okay, so we had Angela and Joe talk about Indianapolis and funny home videos there too. Then we had Kathy do her presentation, and she's spoken at every Masters weekend on the power of analysis, how to evaluate properties and make sure that you're making decisions rationally, you're using logic, and you're using metrics to evaluate investments so you don't make mistakes. Everybody liked that, huh?
I have to agree. Everyone liked that.
Yeah, she's really great. Kathy, we really appreciate your involvement. We talked about organizational techniques and how to organize your investing business. We had Randy, who's been on the show before, talk about mortgage lending and some of the ins and outs there and really mortgage planning and financial planning. And he's got a very special take on the borrowing side of the real estate investment world, which was interesting. And by the way, chime in if you guys have any comments. I know I tend to do all the talking, but...
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been working with Randy now for at least a good 2 years. He's great. He's helped a lot of our clients with the financing and financial planning aspects. So we really enjoy working with Randy. It's pretty sharp.
Good. And then we had, of course, questions and interaction throughout the day. And we had the 1031 exchange presentation. Remember, with income property investments, folks, they're not only tax advantaged in the fact that you get non